UK, often into Wales, and we also take it overseas, and we've been doing shows for 40.
Right, you need to chill upside down. You're feeling
When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave ours today.
So, remember and celebrate. And as you go today and enjoy everything that's going on, may you know God breathing His peace over you. May you know that Jesus is with you on your journey. And may you know the Holy Spirit strengthening and sustaining you this day and forever. Amen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yay! A presentation by Mr. Justin Robinson of the London Mint Office to the Mayor of Bridgend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having us today. It's a real honour to be standing here with yourselves in Bridgend to remember and honour the members of our armed forces. You know, there are two things that you can do with history. You can either forget them, or you can choose to remember them. And a wise man once said that those who do not learn the lessons of the past are condemned to repeat them. And some lessons are just too important to forget. And D-Day, that we celebrated commemorated last week, is one of them. And I'm very proud to work for a company that puts history in the hands of our customers. And what we do helps to make sure that events like these are commemorated and remembered by the generations to come. And events like D-Day, like the Normandy landings, like the liberation of Europe, are the moments that matter. They form the shared human experiences that define and shape us as people. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to ensure with my company and with the people who remember events like these, people like yourselves, the incredible stories of the Normandy landings and the Allied invasion of Europe and the liberation of Europe will continue to be remembered and shared by many generations to come. 75 years ago this month, the largest seaborne invasion in human history took place on the beaches of Normandy. A huge armada of over 156,000 soldiers came to France not as invaders, but as liberators, and their arrival marked the turning point of World War II. And after months of careful planning, the Operation Overlord set the Allies firmly on the road to victory. And 11 months later, Germany surrendered, and we had victory in Europe. You know, today we are very fortunate, aren't we, to live in a Europe that is free and open and inclusive to all. But on the morning of June the 6th, 1944, that future was far from guaranteed. 75 years ago, in a small secret attic room overlooking the streets of occupied Amsterdam, a 14-year-old girl hiding in an attic with her family was listening to the radio. And Anne Frank heard the BBC reports from London that said that the Normandy landings had begun, and she dared to dream. And in her diary that day, she wrote, "This is the day. The invasion has begun. Is this really the beginning of our long-awaited liberation, which still seems too good, too much of a fairy tale to come true? Will this year, 1944, bring us victory? We don't know yet. But where there's hope, there's life. It fills us with fresh courage and makes us strong again." And tragically, Anne Frank never lived to see that victory. Her family were betrayed, and she was taken to a Nazi concentration camp where her short life ended about 8 months later. But it is a testament to the importance of D-Day and to the work of our armed forces to know that hearing that news gave her hope. It filled her with courage, and it made her feel strong again.
On behalf of Bridgend Town Council and the people of Bridgend, I would like to thank the London Mint for the presentation of this very special D-Day mission coin, and of course the other presentations. Bridgend played a vital role in World War II, and this coin belongs to the people of Bridgend. Without his bravery, courage and gallantry, the world would have been a very different place. Once again, very many thanks.
Privileged to be here. I must say that I very, very much concur with the previous speakers. I stand here in representation of Mr. Churchill, who, if he had been here today, would have been 144 years old. And I think that's quite important, because what we need to do is remember, because of the great sacrifice that the world saw in the 1940s in the Second World War. It is most important that we commemorate those acts of all types of people, but particularly in this 75th anniversary of D-Day, those who took part in that event. I was with a group of re-enactors in Normandy last week, and we were wonderfully received, and the celebrations that went on in the streets were quite amazing. And some people say it's wrong to celebrate such events, but we celebrate them in order to commemorate them, in order that they do not happen again. Let me take you back to a time when this country stood alone. This is a speech, or part thereof, that I made to Parliament on coming to power. To form an administration of this scale and complexity is a serious undertaking in itself, but we must be remembered that we are in the preliminary stage of one of the greatest battles in history, that we are in action at many points in Norway and in Holland, that we have to be prepared in the Mediterranean, that the air battle is continuous, and that many preparations have been made here at home. In this crisis, I hope I may be pardoned if I do not address the House at any length today. I hope that any of my friends and colleagues, or former colleagues who have been affected by political reconstruction, will make all allowance for any lack of ceremony with which it has been necessary to act. I would say to the House, as I said to those who have joined this government, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears and sweat. We have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many long months of suffering. You ask, what is our policy? I will say it is to wage war by sea, land and air with all our might and with all the strength that God can give us. To wage war against a monstrous tyranny never surpassed in the dark, lamentable catalogue of human crime. That is our policy. You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word: victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory, however long and hard the road may be. For without victory, there is no survival.
We've got a couple of seats available at the next free screening of the Salt Second of the World.
Thank you, guys. Do you know what the injuries are? You've personally anyone or a person? 9-yard belt, 250 rounds. Hence the expression, give them the whole 9 yards. Look, he's dapper. Very much. Yeah, love the beard. I tried a moustache, but I had to shave it off. It was tickling all the time. The girls are looking, nothing there, 94, so absolutely smashing. As I said, yes.
Excuse me, officer. How are you, mate?
Are you off hunting?
Sorry?
Are you off hunting? Oh dear God.
Down there's the famous Dookie Queen, looks a flapper on the streets, more like 18 and 18. She pulls her hair all down behind, then pulls down the never mind, and after that pulls down the blind. In my profession I work hard, but I'll never stop. I'll climb this blinking ladder till I never do the top. And old Meg walks around the floor, she's so fed up. One day I'm sure she'll drag me in and lock the door. When the cleaning when I'm cleaning windows, yeah. from morning till night. It's just taking a little bit of a break, so I'm going to hopefully excite you with a little bit of if it ain't got that swing, well, no, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do I? It don't mean a thing. All you gotta do is sing it. Do I? You're never too old. You're never too old. You're never too pregnant. That's what I found.
Yeah, so unfortunately, it doesn't go anymore.
Oh, that's brilliant. Amazing. Brilliant. Thank you.
No problem.
We'll move on.
We don't play that, right?
What is those? What is those? What is
How do you like your eggs in the morning?
I like mine with a kick.
Boiled or fried?
Well, I'm satisfied as long as I get my kick. Yeah.
How do you like your toast in the morning?
We've had this conversation and gluten intolerant, not a good thing.
Dark or light?
Well, I'm satisfied. I've got to have
What are you gonna have?
my love
Oh yeah.
in the air.
Me too.
Lovely.
Oh, the rest of my day is positively mayhem.
You're a regular monster.
How do you like your eggs in the morning?
I'll have mine with a kick.
Up or down?
Well, I'll never frown. Eggs can be almost bliss, just as long as I get my
It's been here for since 10:30. It's now 1:30, and we've plodded around all the main streets, and there's a lot of re-enactors here today, covering all of the Second World War and the First World War. We've had loads of photo shoots done, and fortunately it's been a beautiful sunny day, and if I look down to the west there, you can see the sun is coming back over. So it's going to be a good afternoon, and we're going to go patrolling again. That's me, Alan Hill with his French uniform on, and Franco Di Marco in the PC uniform. Over and out.
And again, Timbo.
Looking very flowery.
Oh, look! Oh! Hello! Here we go. Are you ready, everybody? Here we go. Hello!